Hey, story seekers, it's Nisha, and you are now listening to Nisha's Open Diary, where the stories are real and the tea is all about me. Welcome back to Nisha's Open Diary. Today is Monday, March 25th, 2024. I am Nisha, and you are now listening to Nisha's Open Diary, where the stories are true and the experiences are real. And today, I'm going to tell the story about the time I was almost taken. So, a little backstory first. There was this club called the Cotton Club. And everybody used to be up in there. And on Sunday nights, it used to be popping. So me and my friends made plans to go. Now at this time, I had recently found out I was pregnant. I had already had to fall out with my son's father. We weren't on speaking terms. But I was in the early stages of my pregnancy. Like 8 weeks at the most. So I packed a bag and I packed the overnight bag and I planned to spend the night at my friend's house after we left the club. So I get my stuff together. I go over her house because some of my other friends lived on the same street as she did. And we would be back and forth in between these two houses. And as a matter of fact, I had two different friend groups. One friend group was the friend group with my best friend and her cousins and some other people. And then this other friend group was with my other best friend and a whole other group of girls. But these two friend groups weren't friends with each other. Okay? And so I was with my other best friend's friend in that friend group. And so I go over her house, and like I said, the other friends lived down the street, so we would be back and forth between these two houses on the same block. And whoever else was going with us generated between the two houses. So I get to my friend's house, and we start getting ready for the club. And you know the smell when you hit in the club, hair, nails, the whole little thing. Everybody running around getting done with whatever they got to do, getting their hair done, getting their makeup done, making sure their nails and their toes and their clothes and they fit is all on point. And so, my friends had no idea how in my feelings about the situation with my baby father I really truly was. But I had my own agenda that they were not aware of. And I really did not want to go to the club. And the only reason I even wanted to go was because I knew my baby father was going to be there. And that was my only reason for wanting to go. Because I was pregnant and I should have been sitting down somewhere. I didn't care about going to the club. I was only trying to see what he was doing. And like I said, this club was a hot spot at the time, and there was no doubt that he was going to be up in there. And if you was anywhere from 17 to 25, you was in there, because they had what was kind of like a teen night, and I still would be in there when I still wasn't old enough to be in there, but me and my friends was using fake IDs to get in. Yeah. So that's what we did or whatever. And on a Sunday night, everybody was in there. And if you was looking for somebody, that's probably where you was going to find them. If they was anywhere in they young teens to up into mid-20s, they was in there. And finally we get done getting ready or whatever, and we just about ready to go or whatever. The club was not far from where my friends' houses were. And it really truly was in walking distance, because it was in walking distance. But we all ended up piling in my friend's car, because riding is always better than walking. And we get there, and like always, it's packed. But I don't care about nothing. I'm scoping the crowd looking for him. And before long, I spot him. In some girl face as usual. So me and my friends are making our way through the crowd. Everybody done been to the club. You know how it is when you go to the club. It's crowded. You trying to move through the waves of people and make your way through or whatever. So that's what we're doing. And I know he saw me, because we looked dead in each other's eyes. But I pretended like I didn't see him. So me and my friends, we go find us a spot to stand. And before long, he make his way over to me and says, "What's up? What am I doing there?" And more importantly, had I taken care of that situation yet? As in, had I got an abortion yet? And I say no. And then he gets to talking crazy to me, telling me I'm stupid, what I want a baby for, stop talking to him, and go home. And I didn't have no business being in there, because I'm only supposed to sit at home and cry and wait on him to, throw me a bone and be bothered with me whenever he feels like being bothered. So after our exchange, he walks away from me and goes back with his friends. And I'm left there standing there looking stupid, fighting back tears. And my friends are asking me if I'm okay. And what did he say? Because they pretty much could figure out what he did. It wasn't something good, because they saw us talking and they could just about imagine the things he said, because he would always be talking down to me and talking crazy to me. So I'm trying to suck up my tears. And then I decided that I did not want to be there anymore. And I didn't want to have to look at his face anymore. So I was ready to go. And I asked one of my friends, like, "Is y'all ready to leave?" And they was like, "No." Like, we had really just got there for real. And they spent their money to get in there. And they was not leaving until it was over with, until it closed. And they were all dancing and having a good time. So I stood there a little bit longer. And as I'm standing there, he keeps glancing over at me every now. So I started making my way out of the crowded club. And after I finally reached the exit and got outside, I gasped and took a deep breath. And the security guards that was out there asked me if I was okay. And I looked up and I was like, "Yeah." And I looked up and I wiped the tears off my face that were streaming down my face, because as soon as I got outside, I busted out crying. As soon as I got outside, I then try to gather myself after I look up and I see people in line that's still trying to get in the club staring at me. So I get my bearings, and then I realize I gotta walk home, because the person whose car I rode there in is not leaving. She's still in the club too. So this club, which was called the Cotton Club, was located on this street called 131st and Miles. And 131st is a long street that kind of like ran me almost to where I live at. But it was a long walk down the street. And I could walk down that street and it would basically take me around the corner from my house where I was living at the time. So I started walking down 131st to go home. I'm crying. I'm upset. I'm thinking about him in the club dancing and talking to other females. It is 2-something in the morning. It's quiet. It's still. Ain't no people around. It's pretty much vacant in the wee hours of the morning. And I'm out there walking. So I'm walking and I get by this street called 131st and Benwood. And by this time, my face is sticky from me crying. I'm kind of scared because it felt real eerie to me. And at one point, I just said, "Pay attention to your surroundings." And I started looking around me in every direction. And when I looked to my right across the street, something just told me, I don't know why, but I don't know. I was so consumed with what I had going on, and something in my mind, my spidey senses, something told me to pay attention to my surroundings. And I seen a white man with some really small running shorts on, like coochie cutting, booty type running shorts on, with a white t-shirt, some tube socks, and some running shoes on. And he's standing on the side of his car that was stopped at that street, 131st and Benwood, with the driver's side door left open, and it looked like he was creeping around to open up the passenger door. And then when I noticed him, he looked really creepy and deranged, like he looked crazier than all get out. And he was going over there, and he had already creeped around the car. He was like holding the passenger door open, like he was getting ready to put me in there. And at this point, I'm looking, and there was nobody else in the vehicle. So who was he tiptoeing around to open the passenger door for? And I started looking for something that I could protect myself with, something that I could use as a weapon. And I saw a brick on the ground, and I picked it up. And I said, come on, bitch, I'll bust your MFing head. Yes, I said just that, verbatim. I'll never forget it. And so then I said, come on, bitch. Then he ran back around the car to the driver's side door, was open, and he sped off. I then keep walking down the street. But now I'm looking behind me. I'm looking left, right, everywhere. Oh, and I kept that brick too, in case somebody else wanted to try something. And God must have been watching over me that day, because I turned and I saw what I think was a serial killer or a serial rapist about to get me. Like, he was definitely up to something. There was nobody else around. There was nobody in the car. Who is he opening the passenger door for? He was fixed to get me. So I drew my own conclusions to think he was about to open that passenger door, run up on me from behind with a white cloth with something on it, knock me out or something, and I would have woke up somewhere tied up and ended up dead somewhere, and nobody would have known what had happened to me. They would have said they found my body and that I was pregnant, and no one would have known what to think. And believe me, the community that I lived in at the time, there was no Caucasian people in that community. So this man, it seems to me, left wherever he lived and came into that community to target people of color, because it didn't make sense to me. And the way this man looked, this man was not from that area. Trust me. And it is by the grace of God that I turned around and noticed him before he got me. Before he got me in that car. And this is the story time of the time that I was almost taken. And I can only imagine what that man would have done to me if he would have got me. What if I didn't turn around? I wonder where I would be. Would I still be alive? Would I got away from him? Like, I have no idea. I have no idea what would have happened. Because he looked it so crazy. Like, this man did not look like he was sane at all. And it looked like he was well conditioned in doing that. It didn't look like it was his first time. This man looked like he was on a mission to get somebody, and I just so happened to be the one there at the time. All right, story seekers, I'm out of here. Make sure you follow me on all socials at Nisha's Open Diary, and my website at nishasopendiary.podbean.com. And until next time, I will meet you where the pen meets the diary. All right, story seekers, that does it for this story time. I'm out of here. Until next time, make sure you tap in, follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Nisha's Open Diary, and I will meet you where the pen meets the diary.